Resolution 2023-09-06, introduced by Nancy Barker.
To the Honorable Mark DeWitt, Chairman and members of the Hawkins County Board of Commission in regular session at this 25th day of September 2023. Resolution in reference. Temporary replacement for Hawkins County Juvenile Judge position nominee Amy Skelton. Whereas Hawkins County Juvenile Judge Daniel G. Boyd has been suspended by the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct and is prohibited from exercising any judicial power or authority, including but not limited to holding court, issuing subpoenas, setting or resetting cases, issuing warrants, setting or changing bond, administering oaths, or issuing oral or written rules in any matter. And whereas the suspension shall remain effective until further orders are issued from the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct, and whereas pursuant to Tennessee Annotated Code 1615-2010 C1, Tennessee Annotated Code 17531F, and Tennessee Annotated Code 175-303G. The county legislative body is tasked with appointing a temporary replacement to serve as Hawkins County Juvenile Judge while the suspension of Judge Boyd is lifted or the office becomes vacant. Whereas Attorney Amy Skelton is fully qualified to serve in the position of Hawkins County Juvenile Judge as a temporary replacement for Daniel Boyd, being a member of the Tennessee Bar Association and has experience with juvenile cases and other matters involved. Her resume being attached. Now therefore be it resolved, Amy Skelton is hereby nominated to serve as the Hawkins County Juvenile Judge beginning on passage of this resolution and effective until Daniel Boyd's suspension is lifted and he can return to the bench, or if he is unable to return to the bench, this appointment will be in effect until the next Hawkins County election is held, with the primary being March 5th, 2024, and the general election being August 1st, 2024. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
All right, we've got a motion on the floor from Commissioner Barker, a second from Commissioner Kern. What we're going to do is go ahead and read Resolution 2023-09-07, introduced by Commissioner Klum.
To the Honorable Mark DeWitt, Chairman and members of the Hawkins County Board of Commission in regular session at this 25th day of September 2023. Resolution to reference temporary replacement for Hawkins County Juvenile Judge position nominee Jack Marecic. Whereas Hawkins County Juvenile Judge Daniel G. Boyd has been suspended by the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct as prohibited from exercising any judicial power or authority, including but not limited to holding court, issuing subpoenas, setting or resetting cases, issuing warrants, setting or changing bonds, administrative oaths, or issuing oral or written rulings in any matter, and whereas the suspension shall remain effective until further orders are issued from the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct, and whereas pursuant to TCA 16-15-210C1 and TCA 17-5-301F and TCA 17-5303G, the county legislative body is tasked with appointing a temporary replacement to serve as Hawkins County Juvenile Judge until the suspension of Judge Boyd is lifted or the office becomes vacant. And whereas Attorney Jack Marecic is fully qualified to serve in the position of Hawkins County Juvenile Judge as a temporary replacement for Daniel Boyd, and a member of Tennessee Bar Association, has experience with juvenile cases and other matters of law, his resume being attached. Therefore be it resolved that Jack Marecic is hereby nominated to serve as Hawkins County Juvenile Judge, beginning upon passage of this resolution, effective until Daniel Boyd's suspension is lifted, or he can return to the bench, or if he is unable to return to the bench, this appointment will be in effect until the next Hawkins County election is held, with the primary being March 5th, 2024, and the general election being August 1, 2024. So moved by Larry Klontz.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor from Commissioner Klontz, a second from Commissioner Alves. Now, before we do a roll call vote on this, are there any further nominations from the board? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go ahead and give each candidate. Okay. I'm sorry. We have requests to speak. Commissioner Barker.
At this time, I'd like to invite Amy Skelton up to tell us a little bit about herself.
I'm from Rogersville, my family and I live there. I went through the Hawkins County school system, and then I attended Clemson University in South Carolina, and then I came back and attended the University of Tennessee College of Law. After that point, as my resume demonstrates, I joined my father at his law practice in Rogersville, and I've worked with him since 2014. During that time, I have significantly focused on family law related matters. So juvenile court, I have extensive experience in that court. Outside of juvenile court, I still practice heavily with domestic cases. I do custody, divorces, adoptions in both chancery and circuit court. Outside of that, my practice areas include probate, estate planning, and any other areas where I need to assist my father in his office. I have judicial experience. I've been sitting as the municipal judge for Churchill and Sept since 2016, and I took over as Rogersville municipal judge in 2022. So I have monthly judicial experience that I have under my belt. Juvenile court, I believe that I'm the person for this position due to my experience. I'm young, but I've been practicing for 9 years, and during those 9 years, I've had extensive amount of trials. I've done every aspect of juvenile court related cases. I've represented children. I've represented children who have part of custody proceedings. I've represented kids who have juvenile delinquent charges. I've represented parents fighting for custody or who have lost custody. I've represented non-related relatives. I've done every aspect of juvenile court so that I have a firm foundation in that courtroom. The juvenile court judge position is newly full-time as you voted to do so, and I think it's important that the juvenile judge who assumes this temporary position understands what issues currently are happening in juvenile court. So you need someone that has been in that courtroom for years prior doing this, and that shows up regularly in that court. This is an opportunity, with it being a full-time position, that the judge can more fully focus on each child and their family in the case to fully help the families in need in Hawkins County. I believe that I'm the appropriate and correct candidate for this position, and I thank you for your support.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions of Ms. Skelton? Okay, we've got Commissioner Britton requesting to speak.
Just a couple quick questions.
Yes.
Do you have any previous suspensions or censures from the bar?
No, I've never had any.
And do you have any pending litigation for you to be classified as a defendant?
No, I have no pending litigation where I'm.
That's all I have.
All right, Commissioner Palmer.
As your role as a municipal judge already, have you had to handle, how's that different than the juvenile, or have you been having to handle any juvenile cases as a municipal judge? Or?
So we hear code enforcement violations, but the towns that I practice in, our juvenile court has given my towns the jurisdiction to handle juvenile cases. So there's actually existing court orders that give my towns that authority. So I do handle juveniles regularly in my municipalities.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Skelton, as a potential juvenile judge,
presiding over cases through the juvenile court system. What, in your opinion, do you think would be the most severe mistake that a juvenile judge could make from the bench?
That's a difficult question. Not taking into account full circumstances for what is contributing to the case at hand. So you have different cases that appear in juvenile court, so that's going to depend on whether it's a juvenile delinquent charge for what you're looking at, if it's termination of marital rights, or the mandatory strict statutory language for how to follow and adhere to that. It's understanding the laws and how to apply them to each type of case that presents before you. It's a difficult way to approach that, but each case is different depending on what it is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is that all, Commissioner Barrett?
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Klon.
I understand your husband works for the sheriff's department.
Correct, he is deputy.
So if he got a case before you, or part of the case that come before you, would you have to step aside?
Yes, I would recuse myself, but that would be just like any other case where I've had conflict, where there are protocols for recusal, so that happens to judges regularly, where they have to recuse themselves. My husband has not charged the juvenile in years, so that's not a court that he operates in primarily. And we thus far have never had any conflicts for him being involved in cases that I'm on.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Ms. Skelton.
Thank you.
Mr. Marecic, please step up.
Good evening, commissioners. My wife and I have lived here for 23 years. I was invited to be a district attorney here to replace John Duggar. And then Michelle Green decided she wanted to go to private practice, so I became a prosecutor here 23 years ago. The most serious charge I've prosecuted has been murder. I prosecuted every case in this county, and the most serious charges there are. I prosecuted people that will leave jail in a coffin. Those types of cases do arise occasionally in juvenile court. I've prosecuted those type of cases. I've defended them. And I anticipated a question from a couple of commissioners when they asked, has she been punished? And is there any litigation? I've never been punished on the board of professional responsibility. I got COVID in February 2021. I had brain fog. I called the board of professional responsibility and said, I can't think straight. What should I do? They said, hey, you don't need to pay your fees or anything. If you get clear-minded, you pay it and you're back to going. So my license was suspended for months. And when that brain fog went away, I was right back at it. I've been at it ever since. I'm a prosecutor with extremely serious cases in my background. I had a case a couple of years ago. I was facing almost 300 years in prison. He hadn't hurt anybody. He had 7 drug cases. I'm accustomed to that stress level of cases. I prosecuted every type of case there is in juvenile and adult court. Every type of case. I love trials. My law firm should be trials or ups. I love trials. I was a DA in Knox County for 3.5 years. Really enjoyed the experience. Got an invitation to come here. I was a prosecutor 2.5 years. Now I've been an attorney, a defense attorney, for over 20 years. If you have a judge that has done nothing but prosecuted cases, that judge is very prosecution oriented. If you have a judge that does nothing but defended people, You have a very defense-oriented judge. I've got the balance. I've done 6 years of one, over 20 years of the other. I don't know what else I can do to let you know I'm ready for the job. 4 years in the Marine Corps. I went to ETSU on the GI Bill. Really enjoyed that. I got my 2-year degree in law enforcement, 4-year degree in criminal justice, and 2 years and 9 months. Went to UT Law School in Knoxville. Loved the experience. I applied in 3 places. The DA's office here, the DA's office in Knox County, and with my friend Buddy Baird. I was blessed to become a prosecutor, put a heck of a lot of people in prison. I prosecuted the first meth cases in this county. A federal officer taught me how to make meth, so I could be the best prosecutor I could be at prosecuting meth cases. I prosecuted them all. I heard a question, have you been sued? Are you in litigation? I've had one lawsuit filed against me in my life. It's a former client. I've won 2 cases for her and her husband. And now, when a case was not won, I get sued over it. It's a case over money. They've already non-suited it once. In my opinion, they have no damages. They bought a house, they rented it, there was damages, then they fixed it, sold the house for approximately double what they bought it for. There are no damages. The attorneys I'm running by say they don't have a good case, they have no damages. They bought it for $60-some thousand, sold it for like $130-some thousand. So, to answer your questions, I've never been reprimanded by anyone. Has there been a lawsuit filed against me? Yeah. I don't fight it like I fight everything I've ever had in my life.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Marecic, please indicate. All right, Commissioner Barry.
If you're appointed to fill the position of juvenile judge, what direction will you take the juvenile court and the juvenile court system forward?
We need to address a lot of the situations we have in the county. Primarily, all the juvenile court judge does is one of 2 things. They preside over criminal cases where minors are charged with crimes, but they're not called crimes when you're a juvenile, they're called delinquent acts. So they hear cases where the kids are charged with crimes or delinquent acts. Secondly, you deal with a lot of custody disputes. Unfortunately, those disputes aren't great parent and good parent. It's often bad and worse. So you deal with lots and lots of custody disputes all day long. There are other areas I'd love to cover. They're not under the house of juvenile court, but I'd love to attack them. Homeless people in the community. Suicide at the high school. I hauled trash the other day. There were 2 women out in the road saying, need gas, getting kicked out. My son and I hauled our trash, we went got gas, went down there. There was a whole slew of people up and down the river, homeless. We got them gas, we gave them money, asked them what's going on, helped them get on the way. They had 7 dogs with them. We went and got them 10 cans of dog food so they could safely get on to their next place. These areas are not under the umbrella of juvenile court, but they need to be addressed. Homeless, suicide. If schools don't have driver education, they need to. All these areas need to be addressed for our community. The VIPs in this room are the little kids. We've made our mistakes. These little kids are helping us. They need us. They need strong leaders. You know, I've been out of high school 37 years. 4 years in the Marine Corps, loved it. 2 overseas deployments. First one being a year long. Second one being 6 months long. We floated around on ships. At any time, you'll have a battle group, 2 battle groups. One's doing a Western Pacific float, one's doing a Mediterranean cruise. They're waiting for something to happen, and you send in those 2,000 Marines and on Navy ships, and you try to hold down the fort until a larger force gets there. I love doing that. 6 months out there, ready for action. What do Marines do when they're out on a ship? They plan for war. They get on helicopters and fly to the other ships like they're attacking it. Amphibious landings, we love that. I'm not a Marine anymore.
Commissioner Barrett, does that answer your question?
That's all I had.
Okay, Commissioner Vaughn.
You have raised two outstanding boys.
Thank you, ma'am, and I apologize that my two sons are not here. We have two sons. One is a Morristown Police Department officer. The other is Washington County Sheriff's deputy. They're not here because someone got stabbed in the mouth in Morristown. One son's dealing with that. My other son is dealing with child matter in another county. Our youngest son will be going to the Trooper Academy in December. So we've raised two great sons. We're proud of them. One son was called to an active school shooter at Morristown School. Horrible call. He drove her as fast as he could, got his assault rifle out, went at it, and it was stand down. Just a no call. Everything's okay. By God, he was ready.
What's your secret success in raising responsible young men?
I think they should be exposed to leaders that are very strong. I was a neighbor of Doug Nelson, the Rogersville Police Department Chief of Police. The most brave thing I've ever seen. I was the DA, and he tried to arrest somebody, and that person pulled a gun and shot. What did he do? One officer ran behind the car. He ran with the gunfire. Exposing kids to leaders like Doug Nelson. That's how my kids became strong. And they'll be great leaders.
I have another question. It says that you have had students complete internships in your office, and one was in the Department of Children's Services.
Yes, ma'am. I was the mock trial coach at Cherokee for 2 years. It was a great experience. The smartest kid I had was Nancy Barker's son, Dylan. He's now a district attorney. I had another intern, his name's Philip Gibson. He's the youngest DA in this district. And he was an intern with me. He grew up with my kids. I take him to the beach, part of the family, wonderful group. Graduated from law school, sworn in as a district attorney in Morristown recently. I could not be more proud of him. He was in the top 5 of his law school class. We could not be more proud of him. The second smartest kid was C.C. Harrison. He's now a lawyer in Sevier County. I wanted him to be here to speak on my behalf. 4:30, he was still seeing clients. I'm proud of all my mock trial students. I've got a PhD, teacher, DCS employee, 3 attorneys, 2 DAs, great kids, no problems out of them, all from here. Those kids make me happy, energetic, enthusiastic. I love it. The best thing that I like in court, that brings the biggest smile to me, that makes me happy all day, is adoptions. I went to court on an order of protection last week. First thing that Judge William Phillips took up was 2 adoptions in chambers. All the little kids going in, out came these happy parents. It was like a birthday for those kids. I love that. Absolutely love
Okay,
it.
Commissioner Vaughn, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you.
All right, we've got Commissioner Roach.
Hello, Commissioner Marecic. First off, I want to say thank you for your service. I appreciate that.
Thank you for yours as well, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It was they got a lot more out of me. I got a lot more out of them than they got out of me, I promise. My next question is, you're currently involved in litigation that you just spoke to, and it sounds like you've got a pretty good feel that you're going to be able to prevail in that,
yes.
and I appreciate you sharing that with us. However, as court cases go, good feelings sometimes don't lend to fact. And in the event that you were not to prevail in that case, and you were to be found liable for damages to those clients, is there a potential for Board of Professional Responsibility action against your license?
That could happen. I've never been punished before. That could happen. If they get a judgment against us, we've got money to pay it. We paid off 3 mortgages here. We lived in very modest houses. We bought our house for $98,300. We bought a little Mamaw house so our kids could live in it, rent-free, for $30,000. We put 40 grand in it. We added an additional mortgage so our son could go to college at ETSU. We owe nobody. We paid everything off.
Okay, Commissioner Roach, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Marecic. We're going to enter into a roll call vote, and when the clerk calls your name, you're going to indicate. Mr. Palmer, are you still wanting to speak?
Yes, sir. It wasn't a question. It wasn't a question to either one of the candidates. It's just a simple question. Currently we have Judge Snyder filling the position, correct?
Yes.
And with, I believe it's been a little over a month that Judge Boyd's, the decision on him will be made. Do we need to fill this position now, or can we wait until after we know for sure if the position is going to be vacant?
Okay, Commissioner Palmer, thanks for the question. The issue mainly is I've talked to Judge Snyder. She's retired, and she will serve another 2 weeks or such, but she has obligations after that, so we will not be able to continue to use her. And we, you know, the court cases at juvenile court will not wait. They keep stacking up. So we really do need to put somebody in place. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Any others? All right. Ms. Davis, would you call the vote?
Yes. When I call your name, indicate whether you wish to vote for Skelton or Marecic, please. Gillen?
Skelton.
Britton?
Skelton.
Trent? Was that Marecic? I'm sorry. Okay. Davis? Kern? I'm sorry. Skelton. Klontz? Or is it Barker? Skelton. Riley?
Skelton.
Thacker? Marecic? Sorry, I can't hear. Palmer?
Skelton.
Alvis? Barrett?
Skelton.
Roach?
Skelton.
Gibson?
Skelton.
10 for Skelton, 4 for Marecic.
All right, that's majority. So we have selected Ms. Skelton as the next juvenile judge. You're going to need to see Nancy probably tomorrow to get sworn in, and we'll get you started. We appreciate you all being here. All right, on to 2023-09-08, introduced by Commissioner Parker.